Charles Leclerc has earned himself pole position for the last 4 years in a row at the F1 Azerbaijan Baku Grand Prix, and yet has no wins to show for any of them. I'm here to go over the complete history of the last 4 years, why each of those races unraveled and led to him not winning, and why this year was probably the worst one of them all. So let's start off with an absolutely hectic race in Baku back in 2021. Leclerc ended up actually getting pole for both the sprint race as well as the main race, and ended up losing to the Red Bull in both. So the story of this race was Leclerc probably had the slowest of the top three. The Mercedes and the RB were just faster in this race, and that showed when Hamilton passed him on lap three, and then Max passed him 3 laps later on lap six. And this race had so much drama and a lot of issues, a lot of DNFs as you can see down here, a lot of mechanical issues too. So the main issue was Max's rear tire puncture late in the race. So during the cleanup of the wreck, the race director told all the cars to go through the pit lane to bypass the main straight where Max wrecked out. And of course, Williams and Nicholas Goatee, as the engineer told him to stay out, and he interpreted that as to not enter pit lane because generally, if you're in a normal race and you say stay out, that means don't pit. But the race director said everybody to the pit. So they were what they meant by stay out was don't come in for fresh tires when you drive through the pits, and that was an issue. And then after the formation lap of the restart, George Russell had a mechanical issue and had to retire as well. After that long delay, I believe they started again on lap 50 out of 51, and Gasly got a run on Leclerc down the main straight, passed him, fought him off a little bit, and ended up retaining that third position and pushed Leclerc down to fourth off the podium from pole position. That was probably second worst. That might be worse than this year, but I think this year was worse because 2021 had a lot of like weird shit going on and weird DNFs and have to do this and that. Shit happens. He didn't have the fastest car, but to have Gasly beat you at the end, and also Sebastian Vettel in second in the Aston Martin, that's tough. That's definitely a tough one. 2022 was kind of just a wash. He also had pole here, also lost to the Red Bull, and 2022 was actually a Ferrari pulling their main Ferrari strategy and having a double DNF after having two cars start in the top four. So of course that's not his fault. That one's pretty much a wash, but it's kind of like the whole Monaco thing, Monaco winning thing. It's just there's always something for him. So that's 2022. 2023, obviously Red Bull had the best car again. Um, yeah, I mean Max just passed him on lap three. Didn't take very long, and then that was pretty much it at that point. What was the gap here? He did out qualify them in two of the three, including Q3, but the race pace and everything after that is just, yeah, again, lost he got pole in the race and the sprint. He is great in qualifying and then just cannot get there. He ended up 4 seconds behind here, and in the race he was 23 seconds. So that's not even close. He just didn't have the fastest car, but the qualifying pace is obviously really impressive, man, especially knowing that you don't have the best car. The qualifying pace is really impressive. He brought that same qualifying pace to Baku this year, 2024. He set the best time. He was very clearly on, he had it lined up, locked in all weekend. He was looking really good. This race we're going to go through a lot more detailed. I want to go through and actually show you a bit of a graph while I go through it of the lap times that he had over his, well, it's about a 10 lap stint. I'm going to start from lap 10. So from lap 10 on to lap 19, this is the graph here. You can see it starts off, these are the gaps here each lap. This is the gap at the beginning of each lap here. So lap 10, he starts at 2.794, and Piastri doesn't pit until lap 16. So lap 16, when Piastri pits, he's up 5.8 seconds. Piastri pits for hards lap 17, and uh, oh, sorry. Piastri pits lap 16. Leclerc comes in the next lap, lap 17. He had between a 25 and 30-second gap going into the pit, and when he came out, Piastri was behind Albon, behind Leclerc, behind Sainz, who hadn't pitted yet. So Leclerc was in a net P1, but and Albon hadn't pitted either. So Piastri passed Albon 1 lap later on the straight, came up behind Leclerc again, and it didn't take long. He cut the gap, down to under a second, and the gap was about .86 when they left turn 16 down that final main straight, and he made the pass in one effort. Obviously, it might have been a bit of a dive bomb, but to be honest, it was his first effort, and Leclerc did not really have the tires to defend him off anyway. But that really does leave the question because it doesn't really explain where did the time go, man? Where did his time go? Because again, this is the graphic that I saw and was like what is this? How did he go from what was on lap 16 before Piastri pitted 5.8 seconds? How does that turn into you getting passed as you come out of the pit on lap, he came out lap 17, 18. He got passed on lap 19 on the first try. Um, the only way to explain it, and I just went back and I'm not going to show it because there's not really much to see, but I put side by side the main F1 stream and then Leclerc's driver onboard, and the only thing you can chalk up the lost time to was simply just him having to baby the hard tires coming out of the pit and Piastri having just one lap fresher and or not one lap fresher, one lap warmer tires than him. It seemed to make all the difference. Like maybe if it was a medium tire, it wouldn't have been an issue, but the hard tire was obviously having an issue warming up for him. You could tell his not only his out lap, but his lap after that he got passed on towards the end were very careful. And I guess better be safe than sorry. Better be careful in P2 than end up like Checo and Sainz and DNF after having great races. So yeah, I don't know, man. Leclerc obviously has amazing qualifying pace. He's known for his amazing qualifying pace, but to go through four years in a row like this, man, and for one of those years to be Gasly passing you, um, I just don't know what you do there. Do you just say like good for him for having the qualifying pace in a car that clearly isn't the fastest all of these years, or is it like we talk shit about Lando and Lando bottles P1. I mean, he's not bottling P1, but you kind of are. I mean, kind of. I don't know how else to describe that. I mean, he had quite a bit of a lead, but again, you can see like he established quite a bit of a lead over about 7 laps and was able to get it up to like over almost 6 seconds when Piastri pitted. The fact that can't translate just because he pit 1 lap quicker that can't translate into you maintaining your position. I don't know, man. Is that a strategy issue? Is that a driver issue? I'm not sure, but it cost him another win. It cost him another win. It really shouldn't. It's a shame. He's been so consistent this year, especially, and has had some great wins. Obviously, Monaco and Monza in the same season is amazing for Leclerc. He's had really good form all year. Really shown himself to be, still one of the top dogs. But man, Piastri to take his second win from you after having a 6 second gap behind, and then not being able to, not only that we didn't even get to this part. Not only that, but to not be able to overtake for then like at least 10 attempts. He had to have tried to overtake, and I don't mean like actually dove in and tried to make the move, but he was trying to line up an overtake on Piastri at least 10 times over the rest of that race because they pitted relatively early. I mean, they pitted lap 17 for hards until lap 51. So he had probably more than 10 opportunities because I think every lap until about lap 48, he was within DRS range, which means he would have had somewhat of a shot coming down that main straight. And the fact that he couldn't convert that after losing the position is, yeah, that's got to be on you at that point, right? Sorry, I'm a little stuffy. I'm sick. The only other thing you can chalk it up to is that McLaren mini DRS that we talked about in the past video. If you haven't seen the video about McLaren's rear wing, go watch that one after this. Um, that probably did make the difference in holding off Leclerc. But if they didn't have that, they probably would have just been swapping spots back and forth until the end, until somebody could hold it. Because realistically, Piastri probably could have kept up with him even if he did get past once. So yeah, I just wanted to go over that. I thought that's crazy that he got pulled the last 4 years in a row at the same course and then hasn't won a single time, and it's not really any fault of his own. I mean, I guess it is, but not really. He just doesn't have the fastest car. He had a double DNF in 2022. 2023, I mean, the Red Bull was way faster than everybody else. You can't really nobody could expect to win a race other than, Sainz pulled out the fucking. We'll be back soon with more F1 videos, news, and updates. Peace.